And welcome back to First News. It is the Wednesday edition, and now joining us to talk about the state of politics in Arkansas and nationally speaking as well is the CEO and founder of Opportunity Arkansas, Nic Horton. And Nick, welcome back to the show. We have to apologize right out of the gates. We lost the open, but we'll get it back by next week.
Okay. I was a little thrown off. I wasn't sure. I was waiting for it.
Right.
So,
no, I know you were. I was too, to be honest with you. So we'll get that back in order for next week. But Nick, I do want to start on the national side of things this morning because we now have Kamala Harris assuming the nomination for the Democrats to run for president, which doesn't seem very democratic to me. But what did you think of President Biden stepping away from his reelection campaign?
Wow, what a time to be alive. I mean, I've been following pretty closely national politics and state politics for 15 years or so now, if not longer, back to college. And, certainly in my lifetime, I don't think we've seen a crazier election cycle. It's funny. They always say this is the most important election of our lifetime. Every 2 years,
right.
It's the most important election of our lifetime, which I kind of find humorous. But in this case, I mean, there's no doubt that this is perhaps the craziest election cycle of our lifetime in a span of, 6 or 7 weeks here. We had the train wreck debate. We had an assassination attempt on the president. We had Joe Biden say, go out and do this huge tour for 2 or 3 weeks, if not a month, to say, I'm in, I'm not going anywhere, I'm in. Classic Joe Biden, just does the opposite of whatever he says he's going to do, which has been, I think, the story of his career in Washington. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden he's gone. Secret Service director resigns. Kamala Harris is in. So, looks like she's going to have the delegates to be the nominee. It's still, I think, an open question of whether or not, in some of these states, there's been some reports that President Biden is already legally certified to be on the ballot, and there's no provision to change that. So I think there's a lot to come in terms of how that's all going to sort out. But yeah, this is crazy. It's been a crazy few weeks for sure.
Is Kamala Harris a gift to Trump and the GOP to run against, or would Biden have been an easier candidate to beat in your mind?
I certainly think my gut says that Biden was Trump's best chance to win. I mean, he's had 4 years to make the case, and you look at inflation, you look at the border, I mean, you look at the multiple wars that have broken out. I mean, there's a really strong case to be made, and certainly the cognitive decline and everything else. But, look, Kamala Harris is one of the most liberal. I mean, she's a radical's radical in terms of her policy positions, and she's been a part of everything that's happened in the last 4 years. She's allegedly the border czar. She voted against the Trump tax cuts when she was in the Senate. Mm-hmm. GovTrack, which is an independent, nonpartisan organization, scored her as the most liberal member of the U.S. Senate when she was there.
Wow.
She got a 7% score from the National Rifle Association. I mean, she's anti-gun. She's a climate radical. She is a tax and spend California liberal, and she's been a part of the decline and the decay for the last 4 years that we've all seen and experienced. So I think in some ways it may be a wash. The Democrats are clearly in chaos. They're trying to organize. They're trying to get a campaign put together for someone that, wasn't planning on running for president just a few weeks ago. And I think we'll see, but I want to say Joe Biden was the best chance for Trump to win, but you got to think Kamala Harris is probably the second best chance.
Yeah, well, and I think people should also remember that, she was part of who pushed all these California policies that led to us all watching videos that would go viral of people just walking into stores and grabbing whatever the heck they want and walking back out. She made those laws in California that made that. It made it very hard to enforce laws for the police in California, and then she came up with the cashless bail as well in California, which just put a bunch of criminals back out on the street very quickly. So I'm sure former President Trump will be hitting on all of that. I do look forward to seeing a debate between him and Kamala, because I think that's going to be a disaster for her. So we shall see. As we're talking with the CEO and founder of Opportunity Arkansas this morning, Nic Horton. Of course, Nick, back here in Arkansas, there's been some movement with the abortion case. The Supreme Court said just last night that the Secretary of State's office, John Thurston's office, that they need to count the signatures now and and come up with a verified number. And so what do you take from that type of ruling from the Supreme Court as far as getting to a final decision at some point here?
Yeah, well, obviously, as you said, this broke super late last night, so I haven't even had a chance to fully read the decision, which I'll be doing today.
Yeah.
Very curious to see how they arrived at that conclusion, given that state law, from my perspective, and I think from a lot of folks' perspective, is pretty clear that if you don't turn in this paperwork, that you do not pass go, do not collect $100. I mean, that is a requirement in order to get your petition certified. Mm-hmm. There's perhaps a school of thought. I was talking to some folks in Little Rock and in the know last night when this all came out. There's perhaps a school of thought that the Supreme Court just wants the Secretary of State's office to go ahead and go through the motions and make sure that they really didn't meet the threshold, mm-hmm. And kind of set aside potentially the paid signatures and just look at the signatures that are conceivably, allegedly legitimate.
Right.
So that's one school of thought. But I think, honestly, one of the things that stunned me is that, and this may be appealed. I don't know fully what's going to happen now next, but they're requiring all the signatures to be counted by July 29th.
Right.
That's 5 days away.
Yeah.
And you're talking about 100,000 or so signatures that have to be counted. So I would think at minimum you're going to see the Secretary of State's office, the Attorney General come back, and at minimum ask for some more time, mm-hmm. because they're also counting, the casino signatures and the marijuana signatures and all of the other petitions that have been turned in. 5 days does not seem like a particularly reasonable time frame for this.
Yeah, no, it does. I know that I almost kind of thought when I saw this that this just was a way to continue to expedite this case, was that they needed to know for sure what that number was, so then they could move forward with the case. And so we'll see where this all goes. A lot of questions still around this at this point on if it will or will not be on the November ballot. Nick, is tomorrow a big day in your world? Is it the big Nic Horton birthday party tomorrow all throughout Arkansas?
I don't know how you figured that out, but yeah.
I know things. I have people.
Yeah. You have people. You got eyes everywhere.
That's right. So, well, happy early birthday. Wanted to give you a good happy birthday this morning.
That. So, what? Something happens when you turn 30, which was several years ago now for
mm-hmm.
me, and kind of stop caring about birthdays. It's like, okay, like they're not cool anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But my kids, I've got a 7 and a 4-year-old, and they are super excited to celebrate Dad's birthday and Mom's birthday in a few weeks, and so it makes it a lot more. It brought some fun back to the occasion for sure.
Yeah, no, I mean you get to a point, Nick, where it's really just, talk to me when I'm 50, talk to me when I'm 75. I don't need all the in-between stuff. Just let's hit the big ones, and that's about it. I don't need to know about the rest of them. So
that's right.
That's just how it goes. So, of course, you can see Nick's work at opportunityarkansas.org is the website. Nick, we always appreciate you joining us as you do each and every Wednesday here on the show. But have a great birthday tomorrow. Have a great rest of the week, and we'll catch up again next week.
Hey, I look forward to it. Thanks as always.